Hello, welcome to the Death Battle Cast. I'm Ben, joined by Chad. We are Wisdom
Hi.
Boomstick, and we are here to debate a very serious matchup. A matchup that I know you guys have been clamoring for years and years and years. Characters who are just like violence and bloodshed are such a core part of their character. We are, of course, talking about Yujiro from Baki. And Sportacus from LazyTown. Oh my god! I promise it makes sense. I promise the matchup makes sense.
I'm
I can
ready to
explain
be
why it makes
educated.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Prepare yourself.
I can
Um,
talk about it.
So we have Liam Swan. You guys know Liam. He's the nutcase himself is here. Sorry.
Wow.
and and John, our brilliant storyboard artist.
Oh, hey, praise.
How are those introductions? What do you think,
It was
Liam?
pretty good.
Completely balanced,
That was-
as all things should
Yeah,
be.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
wish that I could have done a triple handstand with Euro dance playing in the background for my intro, but I'm not capable of doing that.
Okay, so a little less of a nutcase then.
I
Great.
just love it every time. It's just like, we've got some anime we haven't done on the show before, and then John's like, "Put me in, coach."
I got this. Yujiro's my boy.
Yeah.
I brought it up.
I'm very
And,
excited to get into this.
Instantly went to Liam when he brought it
We
up.
brought up
Yes.
this. Yeah, we
Yes.
instantly came to me, and I was like, yeah,
Yes.
So hey everybody, thank you for joining us live on Death Battle Cast. We of course do this every Tuesday at noon Central Standard Time. We recently released a new Death Battle. You know, nothing too big, just the massive Bowser versus Eggman episode.
Dude,
Greatest of all time.
Gosh, if you
Yeah.
guys have not seen it, I mean, you have. What am I saying? Like,
Probably
you guys have seen it
statistically speaking.
probably multiple times. And also, like, better thing to say, if you guys have not checked out Morrow's channel or
Yeah.
any social media or anything like that, go find him
go.
because Morrow.
Please.
The vast majority of that battle, in fact, all of the animation, like the character animation, was one guy,
Yeah.
Morrow. Amazing talent, amazing work. He came on to Death Battle for last season. I believe
Gojo Hanma.
Bill.
Kima?
Yeah.
Bill. I believe Bill Discord was the first
Yeah,
one.
he
Okay.
did build
Yeah.
his Discord.
Mhm.
And has been helping out with fights, ever since. And then when we were talking about doing this one, he basically just volunteered to be like, I can do the whole thing. And we were like,
we were like,
are you sure?
Yeah.
we were like,
this is gonna be a lot.
That's a lot of responsibility.
And he's like, yeah, no, I got this.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah, it was incredible. So this we haven't really done an army fight since the last time Eggman was on the show.
Yeah.
Which is
And it
crazy to
nearly
think
killed
about.
Ben.
Yeah. I know through experience how much goes on in in these sorts of animations. So we, of course, as we were planning out the fight and scripting things, there were a lot of considerations for how to, make things work without putting way too much on Morrow's plate. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
little choices in the animation for how we, explore an army fight without literally having him animate thousands of things constantly smashing into each other.
But I also want to say, I want to challenge that and go, I would challenge those watching to point out what those secrets were, because I noticed quite a bit of thousands of things.
Yeah.
smashing into
It
each
certainly
other.
feels like it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
more-
You did a
more
really
about that,
good job.
actually.
Well,
maybe.
I
Indie
will say
Cross
more than we
has a lot of
expected.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect time to also shout out DJ,
Yes.
who wrote the episode
Mhm.
and put
Yeah.
so much work
Mhm.
To the
into
edits,
the edit
so-
and everything.
Yeah, end of the editing. Yeah.
I guess
Awesome.
you guys are right. Ultron versus Sigma, which was Liam's first episode to write, I believe, was also
Yeah.
sort of an army fight.
I remember talking about it and being like, can we do an army fight? And you guys were like, we want to, but that's kind of a lot. So we did we kind of did a little bit right at the beginning. And I think it was effective for what that was. But this is the real deal. This is
Honestly,
the
a lot
army
of the
fight.
strategies we took for that are similar to what
Yeah.
we did with Bowser
You have
Eggman.
stuff flying in the background. You have
Yeah.
Also,
There's the big explosion of the army stuff at the beginning, and then we kind of move away from it, and it kind of comes in here and there.
Do solo things, yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of membership thrown around in the chat, by the way. So Galactic Attorney gifted out 5, Kinsdirect gifted out 1, and then Gelatin Man gifted out 5 as well. So hey, welcome to Champion. You can now talk in chat because we do this live every Tuesday at noon Central. And also go check out all the stuff that we post for you guys.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, champions, for jumping in and supporting us.
Yeah.
All right. So again, if you haven't seen Bowser Eggman, or if you have seen it, go watch it.
Yeah,
We're trying to
watch it
get
a
it
million
to 2 million views. It was trending earlier. I don't know if it still is. Probably is. I don't know. But we would love it to do well, because I think the guys really deserve. Everybody who worked on it really deserved to have this episode do well. So really appreciate y'all supporting the episode and sharing it around. There's been a lot of like just other fan bases and other groups of like forums and Reddit like threads and things like that, like just talking about it, that don't really interact with Death Battle and stuff, and that's always fun to see. So thank you all for sharing it around and making sure other people know how crazy it is. Speaking of crazy, though, let's talk about this matchup. Let's talk about this Death Battle cast. If you are new here, what we do on Death Battle cast is we pick a matchup every week, and then we give each character to one of our guys to argue to determine who would win in a death battle. And today, John is going to be representing Yujiro from Baki, and Liam is going to be representing Sportacus. It's their job to basically convince everybody else here, including all of you, that their character would win in a death battle. And at the end of the stream, at the end of the podcast, there will be a poll on the YouTube page for members to vote for who should win, and that will be the deciding factor. So let's start with Baki.
Okay.
Well, but I wanted to interject very quickly, and maybe I could talk about this later. But would you like me to explain why this is a matchup? Like why we're doing this one? What's the connection? Or do you want me to save that for after our character introductions?
Let's save it for right after.
Okay.
Let's save it for right after, because it's definitely a question, but I want to make sure everybody here is aware of who these characters are first.
I'm very
Because to be
excited
honest,
learn.
I don't know
You don't know. Okay,
anything
great.
about Yujiro.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and Gilded Data says Sportacus saved Santa's life. Remember that. So I'm even more intrigued
Okay.
to learn more.
Okay. So
about
let's
both.
start with Yujiro. John, can you give us the rundown on what Baki is and who Yujiro is? Pretend
Baki,
I don't know anything about them, because I don't.
Baki is a martial arts manga series all about the beauty and the power of martial arts and the ridiculousness that can come to people being at the peak pinnacle of health and conditioning. Yujiro, Baki, Biscuit Oliva, even a caveman called Pickle, named Pickle, are examples of these ridiculously strong, super powerful people, humans, that go far and beyond the Call of Duty when it comes to how far human limitations can get, and that they don't have any limitations. They even resurrected Miyamoto Musashi to show the old era of martial arts and fighting to the new era of martial arts and fighting.
So what's Yujiro about?
Yujiro is considered, I could go over it with like the 60-second rundown thing.
Yeah, give us the 60-second. Who is Yujiro and why does he win? Go.
Yujiro Hanma, also known as the Ogre, is the strongest creature on the planet and the pinnacle of physical force. When he was born, he shifted the balance of power of all living things down a rank and was fully cognizant as a newborn infant. He grew up learning, growing, and fighting hundreds of skilled fighters and beasts to hone his strengths to be the apex creature that no one, not even the US military, wants to mess with. His demon bag gives him a stat multiplier that makes a once threatening attack towards him be like throwing a wet piece of tissue paper on a steel door. He is, and even to this day, still is the strongest in the series, and no one really knows the upper limit to his power. Even if Sportacus is somehow several times stronger than him in some way, Yujiro has dozens of hacks, experience, techniques, intelligence, and the necessary means to circumvent any gap against this far less skilled opponent. The Ogre is about to have his meal.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I will say Stink Dink. Everybody knows Stink Dink in the chat. Hello, Stink Dink. Says the strongest ogre on the planet is Shrek. So, you know, we may have to contend with another.
Also, briefly entertained Shrek versus Sportacus.
We did do
Shrek versus
All right. So let's get to what I'm sure a lot of people are wondering. Who the hell is Sportacus? What's going on with this guy?
Yeah, so I want to talk about, and I promise this is talking about Sportacus, but I want to talk about Magnus Skeving. Because Magnus Skeving, he was a carpenter, and he made a bet with his friend Finnjolfur, I think is his name. He's Icelandic, that's why his name is like that. And they said they bet each other that one of them or that both of them would give each other a sport, and then they would have to become world or national champions in that sport. So Magnus gave Finnjolfur snooker, and Finnjolfur gave Magnus aerobics. And 8 years later, Magnus became the Icelandic national champion in aerobics. He spent the next few years as a motivational speaker and realized that there wasn't really like a good health role model for children in television. So he started the LazyTown. It didn't start as a show first. It started as like a stage play, I believe, and then into a show. And by that point, he was in his 40s. And the reason I talk about all of this is because when you see Sportacus doing stuff like handsprings and doing like the thing where you grab a pole and then you are the flag, which he did, that's Magnus actually doing it. He does his own stunts. Because Magnus, even more than Sportacus, is an actual real-life fucking superhero. And Sportacus is just the fictionalized version of him in LazyTown. He is a
I thought you were
superhero.
talking about like the lore that got like.
Oh,
like,
no,
I
no,
didn't
no, I'm
realize
talking
I mean, it
about
is
the
the
real-
lore
the real,
Yeah,
of the real guy.
Of the
Real
real
guy.
guy,
Crazy.
because that's it's even more impressive. And
Yeah.
essentially Sportacus is very simple. He's just a superhero that hangs around LazyTown. He lives in an airship like a Zeppelin, and he like is alerted to danger and saves people and tries to help encourage them to leave healthier lifestyles because they're all a bunch of fat fucking loser puppet people. And Robbie Rotten is there. Yes.
This is a show for children. Liam, watch your fucking
Liam.
language.
Fucking sacks as shit. And Sportacus and Stephanie got to do all the damn work to get their asses out of gear, which always ends up happening.
It's called LazyTown.
It's called
So
LazyTown.
like,
Is the
It's a
town
bug.
actually called LazyTown? What's the town called?
Yes, I
Yes,
believe it's
it's
called
LazyTown.
LazyTown. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually
It was
LazyTown.
originally going to be called Lazy Fucktown, but then they pivoted towards a child market. So they
Jesus
changed it to-
Christ.
It's
Thank you, Tom. Thank you,
unbelievable.
Gelatin Man and Vamulator gifting out 10 memberships. Wow. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So what can Sportacus do?
Well, can I, like I said before, can I mention why this is a matchup? Because I don't
Sure,
think
yeah.
it's totally clear. So the idea is that both of these characters, this shit went viral on Twitter. This is why we're fucking doing it. This shit went viral on Twitter. I made a post going, should he be on Death Battle? Which is like the most like bottom feeder kind of like Twitter post that I can make. And got 20,000 likes because I'm like, I guess that works. Goku can fight Zero Ants.
Hear that,
And,
guys? Liam called you bottom feeders.
no.
No,
I'm
he
the bottom
was
feeder.
being a
I'm the
bottom
bottom feeder. No.
Yeah.
The original post that I was responding to, which was a calc, was awesome. And I did a little calc too, which we'll talk about later. But the idea is that somebody requested, like, said, "What about Yujiro?" And I went, "That doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, what?" And I realized it totally does, and it's actually perfect because both characters in their series are the pinnacle of physical health. Both series are about physical health and the limitations of human beings. Just approaching it from different ways. LazyTown is very light and fun. It's a kids show. Baki is this very serious, very like straightforward, like manga series, but they're both ridiculous. Like Baki is just as fucking ridiculous as LazyTown. So I see the matchup being this like two characters who are like on the face of it very different, but have the same exact motivation. And it's almost a battle of who is. It's like Saitama versus Popeye, but where Saitama was obviously the less like ridiculous character in the end. This is a battle of who is the most ridiculous character, and who is the most ridiculous is going to end up winning. That's what I see from this fight. I think it's
Interesting.
fucking hilarious.
So let's out ridiculous each other, Liam.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Gilded Data said LazyTown actually started as a book where Sportacus was an elf.
Neat.
Book where he's an elf powers.
And this is one of the most random facts. I can't believe this is real. Falco in the chat says that the "You Are a Pirate" song from LazyTown was written by the same guy who was the animation director for Clay Fighter.
That's awesome.
What? Okay.
That rocks.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Look.
do know there's a question of like, is he still an elf? Does he have pointed ears? Because he always has his ears covered by the headband, right?
I don't
So
even
you
know
never
that,
you never
man.
see the tips of his ears. So that's a big question in the lore. Does he have elf ears? Okay, so the whole concept of this battle is who's the healthiest, I guess, but also who's the healthiest in like the most extreme, ridiculous way.
Yeah, in a way.
So, with that in mind, is Yujiro just like a fighter? Does he just punch people? Or does
No,
he do
no, 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 no,
anything
no, no,
else?
no, 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 no. That's like the biggest thing about Yujiro.
Everything's people.
He everything's like that is. So can I start by explaining to start you guys off about what you're dealing with Baki? Zero, Baki is weird. Put that on screen. Zero, Baki is weird. Put that on screen. In the series, Baki got poisoned by somebody and was dying, becoming malnourished, and just coughing up blood everywhere. And he just like looked like a corpse. It was thanks to a big hearty meal and sugar water in a bucket spun by Retsu Kaido, a man who has studied over 4,000 years of Chinese martial arts, to stir it with his hand. And once he drank it, it was thanks to that, along with cellular rage. His cells wanted revenge on the person who gave him the poison. And then they swore revenge and gave him the power to ultimately go back to peak physical condition like it never happened. This is Baki. This is Baki, and Yujiro upscales from his son.
Cells got angry. What?
His cells got angry.
So it's like
they swore revenge.
It's like Karin's water, but if it was like treated realistically.
Yes.
Wild. Okay. Okay.
Ball. Yeah.
So
I do see meta edits. Because I do know this. He's technically named Sportacus 7, right? I think it's 7 because there are multiple Sportacuses. He's just the next one.
I thought it was Sportacus 9. But
maybe it's 9. I don't remember. But
like
I saw some people Sportacus versus Captain Falcon came across my feed, and I was like, why is that? And that's where I found out that like their titles handed down. Or All Might, I think, also was there. So okay, now I did hear before we jumped into the show, before we went live, you guys said something about like the Baki translation is done by like the devil.
Go ahead, Liam.
What's going on with that?
This is all yours.
Yeah, so I was reading through Baki the other night, just to refamiliarize myself with it, and I was like, I'll take this opportunity. I'm interested in Baki right now to kind of keep reading because it's very, very long. It's ongoing. It's been going since like the early 90s. And I got to a page that reminded me of the fun, happy issues with the scanlations here. Sam, could you bring up that one image that I sent you? I didn't send you any others. There was just that one. The
what?
person that does the scanlations
wait,
has a little fun.
This is a finished page.
This is real. He didn't want to, he went, they're just talking about shit we already know.
So for audio listeners, what we're looking at is a manga page with large word bubbles. What is on them? What's going on? It's just like one word.
So yeah, he's meeting up this character that he has previous, beef with, or this character has beef with him. This is Yujiro in the foreground. And instead of boring us with all of this, character motivation shit, fucking lame, right? It's gonna be recap.
This is recap.
Amazing.
Why?
Because he got lazy.
Yeah, he needs talking to from. He needs a talking to from Sportacus. I remember reading this is just from Reddit. This is from like years ago. That like the person that does the scanlations is like, I don't want to bring up smoke. I just people have a lot of issues with this person. Apparently, this is
clearly. Look at what we just saw.
From what I've like read so far, most of it is fine. You don't get pages like that all the time, but I think this stuff happens more and more. I don't know, John, if you know like the lore on that, but
no, not really. No.
Yeah, this guy. Okay, yeah, this guy is interesting. Yeah.
Wait, that's the actual translator or letterer? Like,
well, I'm saying that because
there's a history to him.
Like, yeah. I think so. I just remember reading this on Reddit like years ago. Them talking about how the Baki scanlations are fucked because of one person.
Okay.
But still, like, what are you gonna do? They're gonna be like, "Hey, man, you should have translated that for me better." And it's like, do yourself.
Yeah.
that how that
So you
works?
bother.
Yeah.
You bother.
All right, so
Okay.
we know a little bit about Baki and what he's bringing to the table and his
Yeah.
angry cells.
Yeah.
Why is Sportacus even here, Liam? Can we get into that? Like, what's the
Yeah.
deal with this guy? He's a
the
health
deal?
nut. He's a gymnast,
He's a-
or
Yeah.
what's his
Yeah.
deal?
I'm going to list off some of the just the things that the agility feats that he does. And those are important because that's him actually doing it. One-handed handsprings, bicycle kicks, a backflip into a front flip, a triple front flip, a push-up and into a 360 degrees. So he pushes up, spins 360 degrees and lands back on his hands. A handstand push-up, and of course, breakdancing to the constant Euro dance bumping in the background. Sportacus is aerobics personified. John mentioned that he is not as skilled. I totally agree that he is not as skilled in martial arts, but in terms of mastering his body, he is an aerobics monster. And
An
matched
ogre,
with
one might
his,
say.
he's an ogre, yeah. And matched with his strength and his speed and his durability, I think that would more than make up for the skill deficit that he has with Yujiro. He also he's a master of essentially every sport in the world, and I would say that he has like aerobics tune force. So for instance, he'll play ping pong with himself, right? And it's not like he's like operating 2 points in space at once. He'll hit the ping pong and then he'll like do a front flip over the fucking table, land, and then hit the ping pong back. He did this at one point, I think, with an apple or a baseball. But instead of like it being a ping pong table, it was the entire town of LazyTown. So like he was hitting a baseball and it like bounced off of like a tree and then it hit a wall and it flew over somebody's face. And then he would like they don't even see him running. He just like does a front flip off camera and then on camera like lands back and then catches the baseball. He didn't catch it. He actually
Across the
knocked it
town?
across the town, and he knocked it back into like another tree, and then it like some birds, and then he knocked it into the sky. He does a fucking front flip again, and and then he like knocks it around the zeppelin and like, right back in place in his cupboard where he keeps all his stuff. So he
Careful
has,
with
like,
gesturing over your mic, Leo.
Yeah, you got cut
Oh,
off
that's
a little
right.
bit. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did I mute myself and then unmute
You did.
myself?
Yeah.
You did.
Twice.
Yeah. But
He essentially has aerobics and sports tune force, where he's always just a front flip away from wherever he needs to be. Yeah, I mean, I can get into like feats, but I feel like we should ramp up to feats. We
Yeah.
should,
So-
like, ramp
yeah,
up.
I can start then.
Yeah.
Oh, what's
So
up?
is the front flip just the way he's fastest? Like, does he need to do a front flip to be
He
fast?
can
I think he's just
Yeah.
extra.
Or is he just
I think he's just extra.
styling? Like,
Yeah, he's
He's
just
extra.
styling on you.
No, there
Just extra.
are no bitches on earth as extra as Sportacus.
There's the statement.
okay,
Like, honestly,
okay.
Like, is Yujiro as extra as Sportacus?
Yes, very much
Yes,
extra.
okay.
One of this, okay. Bring it up. One earthquake. One of the biggest feats that Yujiro has been called to do is that when attempting to fight his son Baki, an earthquake happened across Japan. And they specifically say it's a big one and everyone's shaking. So it has to be at least a high magnitude for people that start reacting. And what did Yujiro do? He just punched the ground and the earthquake stopped. Which has been counted to be at bare minimum at a good rest estimate of 15.25 kilotons of TNT, which is town level. That means he can punch LazyTown and it'll explode.
Wait, the ground was it was an earthquake, and he
It was
just
an-
punched the ground
punches
so
the ground.
hard it decided
stopped.
to stop.
Yeah,
But
and for the
also,
longest,
look at the
everyone-
ground.
For the record,
There's
that's
no,
how
like-
I actually see it.
I'm just floating like there's no cracks or anything. Right? There's just a fist-sized hole.
Just a
It's
hole,
like-
yeah.
he stopped it.
Okay. Did the
Like,
ground get scared? Like, how does that even work? That doesn't make
he's
sense.
so powerful. He's so powerful. He scared the earthquake away. I mean, he's more powerful than the earthquake.
Okay.
And this is I just want to
This is one of many earthquake feats, by the way. This isn't just the only one. There have been multiple times where various characters, through just being hit so hard, they cause earthquakes, and Yujiro shakes an entire skyscraper just by getting angry enough.
It is a consistent theme in Baki that like, but I actually think this ties into like the cells, like his cells wanted revenge. That like their passion for martial arts is so intense that it anthropomorphizes the universe around them. Not literally. This is like a thematic thing, right? But like,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Like
It
when
like
I say that,
reacts
John,
to
you
them
know,
in a way.
Yeah.
yeah, it reacts to them. The Earth was
Reality
scared.
bends to their will. Yeah.
Yeah. With Sportacus, he also has like a bunch. So he's a superhero. His job is superhero. It is not beach. It is superhero, and he has like a zeppelin that he lives in above LazyTown, and he has tons of gadgets and tools and other stuff. This is not like the bulk of my argument for him, but I just wanted to like run through this stuff before I'm scrolling down. Before we get into like feats stuff. Yeah, so he has his airship. He has his sports pod, which is this like flying machine that he uses. Of course, he has to pedal it because it's exercise.
Of course.
He once pedaled it. He was chasing this like robot, like drone thing that Robbie Rodden, who's the villain because he's lazy as fuck, was sending across the world. He pedaled it from to China, then to France, and then back to LazyTown. Some point by the end of the day, like the sun had not changed its like light when he got back. So
Where
within
is
like a couple of
LazyTown
hours.
located?
Is it
So-
in Iceland?
Okay, so the respect thread said it's not. It's on the opposite side of the planet from Iceland, but then it showed a map and it really looked like it was pointing to Iceland. So I'm going to say Iceland.
Go to
No,
Iceland.
It would be, right? It was originally like
Yeah,
it was a
surely.
show for Iceland, right? Like that was
I
what
thought it was
originally made
Iceland.
for.
The map,
Yeah.
little arrow, and I was like, "That's pointing to Iceland." It doesn't even need to say the words. I know where that is. But yeah, I mean, from China to Paris to LazyTown, even regardless of where LazyTown is, and he's pedaling the entire time. Like, he also pedaled to the moon, like from Earth to the moon, in a couple of seconds. Which, like earthquakes, Sportacus and their relationship with the moon, with Luna, our celestial sister, is also a consistent theme in LazyTown. He has other
The
flying vehicles, like
airship
this-
is wait. Maybe
no,
I missed
not the
this.
ship itself. Sorry, there's a smaller like sports pod that
Yeah, the
pops out,
pedaling.
and-
But
the
it's
pedaling
a
flying
it's like a pedal. It's like a little pedal boat, but it's a
yes,
airship.
but through the air.
Yeah.
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 Naturally,
The sports
okay.
pod
Just
also
double
flies.
checking.
The airship is like a big zeppelin.
But he pedaled to the moon and
If
back.
the little pod is powered by it, because everything he has to be healthy, everything has to be
Yeah.
exercise based. What powers the airship?
I don't know. Probably gasoline. Probably fossil fuels.
Oh, okay. he
Your
doesn't
will.
have to like run a hamster wheel to power
Yeah,
it up
yeah.
or anything like that.
There might be an answer, but I don't know what it is.
Okay.
He has a crystal on his
Yeah.
chest that alerts him to when someone is in danger. He has a telescope. He has double-ended grappling hooks, which he once did to. I can't even describe the gif, but it's the funniest one where like is front flipping, and then he like knocks the hinge off a door, and then like front flips through that, and then does his like little like grappling hooks around behind him through the door, and then pulls the door back up. He has yo-yos. He has a baseball bat, a tennis ball and racket. He has apples. He has a soccer ball, ping pong paddles, badminton, racket, Jesus, and birdie. It's a spyglass. He has a backpack that transforms into like a hang glider. It like pops out, and it can also transform into his sky chaser. And it just shoots stuff out of it. And he has the wrist-mounted grappling hooks, and a bow and arrow. So he has tons of like fun, goofy stuff, but the way that he uses it is just fucking crazy. Like I mentioned with the hitting the fucking ball around LazyTown. Everything is enhanced by how powerful
Okay.
Sportacus is.
So maybe exercise isn't quite the right word here. It is more like physical activity, because everything you described is something that would be applied
Yeah.
to like some sort of physical activity, whether it is like a specific sport,
Yeah.
or like rock climbing or hiking or things like that.
Mhm. Yes.
And what I'm gathering from this is we have a Popeye-like figure who sort of like bends the rules of the world around him, but not through inherent toon force, through the use of his
Athleticism.
athletic
Yeah,
Yes.
and
That's well,
like athletic tools available to him. He is just
Yeah.
so skilled at gymnastics that his gymnastics cause the world around him to like become more tune forcey because he could use his grappling hooks to have the door reattach.
Yeah, yeah.
That kind of thing. Like because
Yeah.
you know I'm assuming the grappling hooks are kind of like rock climbing hooks. Maybe that's not true, but just using these tools, using these skills, he does a front flip because you know he does a gymnastic move or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And that gets him to the other side of the town.
Yeah.
So this is his power. Somehow he uses
Yeah.
athletics and athletic activities to, or just like general healthy activities, I guess. Muscle building activities, I suppose.
because
to
yeah,
bend the
because
world.
being this fit makes you a superhero. This is how you be a superhero. The whole point
Okay,
of it was
great.
to motivate
Yeah.
kids into being like, I want to be like Sportacus. I want to
It's
be able
like
to do
Thomas.
this stuff.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr.
Okay.
Wowie. Thank you, Senior Word. Kamendachi. Oh man, sorry, there's been a bunch. You guys have been going crazy. And then Jaeger Hunt gifted out and then Giggle Touch. Thank you guys.
Well, Giggle Touch, of course, another. You guys have such professional names in chat. Does say that Baki is JoJo, just a bit more bizarre, which is a huge statement. I have to say that's a crazy thing to say.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
guess,
curious.
yeah.
I'm curious
Yeah.
to see where that goes. I will say before we get to that, there are a couple things we do need to touch on first. Not Giggle Touch on, but just generally talk about. So I did want to say, those of you who supported the Kickstarter and are expecting rewards, good news. We're starting to get our physical rewards coming in. We're excited to get all of those gathered together and send those out. So we everything's working out pretty much in terms of timing for getting rewards together and sending them out to you. So things should be going to you definitely by the expected time, at least so far. We want to make sure that you get everything that your whatever backer tier you chose. Everything should be coming to you, no problem.
if you
Also,
haven't filled out your survey, you're running out of time to get.
yes, please fill out your survey. It would be in the email that your Kickstarter account uses. So check that. If you have not filled out the survey, that's like for shirt sizes and things like that. Please check for that. Those are very important. We don't want to send you a shirt that doesn't fit you. That would be unfortunate. Okay. Second, I believe I talked about this last week or maybe the week before. Death metal music. We are getting the last bits of the death metal soundtrack back up on YouTube, on Spotify, etc. Back on streaming. So yay, music is back. If you during the time when music was being taken down, during the transfer, right when we were going from Warner Brothers to us independent death battle, because the music had to be taken down in order for that transfer to happen, a lot of people downloaded it and re-uploaded that music to YouTube and whatnot. If you are one of those people, please take it down. We don't want to go through and shut that stuff down ourselves, because we know that a lot of that was done out of with good intentions. But going to the official releases of these tracks does directly support the artists who make the music. And if you're not sure where to find that music, there's a death metal music channel. We've made a YouTube channel to make it easy to find all the death metal music. That channel is Death Battle Beats.
You will link in the chat.
Chad will link it in the chat. It's really easy to find. Just type in Death Metal Beats, search for that, and you will find the Death Metal Skull logo with some headphones on. It's great, and everything should be able to be found there. So if you want to make sure you are listening to the music in the official place, go ahead and subscribe to that. You can also find, of course, Death Metal music attributed to the individual artists who make it, like Brandon Yates and Their Wolf Media. On Spotify and elsewhere, you find music. Thank you to everybody who does listen to the music in the official locations. And again, I don't want to make it sound like we don't appreciate the people who did download that music and posted it for archival purposes. Like, we appreciate the thought. We absolutely do. We just want to make sure that the artists themselves are being supported. And lastly, if this quick bullet points, I do want to give a shout out to the sponsor for this week's episode of Death Battle Cast, Uncommon Goods. Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods, because the busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Get gifts that hit the "it's exactly what I wanted" feeling we all hope our friends and family will have when they see what you got them, rather than the kind of side eye that they get when they look at they open their gift and they go, "It's okay." No, Uncommon Goods, they got some really cool stuff on there. They scour the globe for original handmade and absolutely remarkable things, and they have the perfect gift for every person you know. Their goal is to have the most meaningful and out of the ordinary gifts that you can find, hence the name. And you can definitely find something unique on their site. I just recently got, I've shown this off, I think, on another cast, but what I got off the website is 2 books, specifically a cookbook and a cocktail mix book, Drinking with Wizards, Warriors, and Dragons, and also Cooking with Wizards, Warriors, and Dragons, which is just super fun. They're basically just like cocktail and recipes inspired by fantasy shows and novels and stuff like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, that sort of thing. It's great. And they also just look so cool, right? Like they look so fancy. Chad, you got something, right?
I got Ghost Rocks.
That's right. I keep forgetting you got ghost rocks.
Yeah, they're these cute little rocks that look like they got little ghosts. They look like little ghosts. They're great.
What is
out
more
in the dark
uncommon than ghost
for
rocks?
Halloween? It was great, and it's made like it was handmade because like I think Uncommon Goods is all like independent like artists and stuff, right? So
Yes, artists, small independent businesses, which means many of the things that are on Uncommon Goods are handcrafted and made in small batches. So you should really check them out now rather than wait and miss out on that perfect gift. And also, with every purchase, they give back to a nonprofit partner of your choice. And so far, they've donated more than $3 million, which is wild. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/DBC. That is uncommongoods.com/DBC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, they're all out of ordinary. Thank you, Uncommon Goods, for sponsoring. Now,
yeah.
let's get back to this very uncommon matchup with beyond uncommon people. Let's get into the meat of this. Let's get into the real feats that I think people really want to hear about. And let's start with Yujiro.
Yeah, okay. If you want me to speed run,
I want to know what crazy. Like, give me something crazy.
Speed run. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's go. Let's go. 2, speed scaling. The whole thing with Baki and speed is that it's all over the place. It's all over the place. Definitely. The fastest I can get is the hitless blow, which is Mach 78. And there are certain characters from King and Ashura which has crossed over with Baki on 2 occasions. With those two things, you have Mach 89.7. In Musashi, there's a feat with Musashi all about him dashing towards Yujiro, and within 0.000 seconds, those speeds can get up to high Mach 244, and the highest with his demon back and other multipliers, he can get up almost to 100 Mach 1000. There's other 2 statements, such as Baki having a light speed jab, of which the narrator doubles down and says that he is in fact throwing a light speed jab. While there are some contextual elements to this, Yujiro states a chapter later that it's mostly like it's a feint to give the same type of force with what you're trying to do. And you have even more ridiculous things like the narrator saying that Baki has surpassed the concept of the speed, even though this is really from the perspective of Pickle himself at the very bottom there. Now let's go to 3, hyper expansion. The whole thing, I got this. Hyper expansion is very funny. So that strong.
Sounds like a tag.
Please. Look, Twitch is going through some crazy apocalypse for when people say crazy shit. Let's not do the same thing.
I'm sorry. So you have General Stridham here is saying in the translations that I've run through myself myself, Google Translate, ChatGPT, and Luis's girlfriend, who I do not know, but I trust her with my life when she says she knows Japanese. And so she said that Stridum is stating that Yujiro's accelerating speed is comparable, basically comparable to the expansion of the universe expanding at the speed of light. If we're taking certain feats into account and giving the lowest estimates of Yujiro's power, we reach 3.15 gigatons of TNT, which is large mountain level, and with his stat multipliers, which is demon back and death concentration, which is a technique that activates when you're in a near-death situation. So let's say if Sportacus gets Yujiro into a near-death situation, he'll have to deal with this level of power. It will reach up to 12.6 gigatons of TNT, which is island level. And this is being very generous. I gave the minimalist amount of effort into this, and this is taking Stridum at his word, who knows Yujiro. He knows how powerful he is. He's the one whose main statements of the U.S. military not wanting to mess with this man. Even Barack Obama said that he had the power comparable to a nuclear warhead when it comes to his fighting capability.
Sorry, what? Who?
Yeah, in Baki, the U.S. military, the U.S. of A in general, have to pledge allegiance to Yujiro to not mess with America. Every single time a new president comes in.
Every time a new president gets elected, there's a new Baki chapter where it shows the president going, Yujiro Hanma.
Yeah.
Maybe one of them pissed themselves. I don't remember specifically.
So there's a lot of feats and there's a lot of statements going back and forth.
Bush,
Hang on.
Obama, Trump, Biden.
Yeah.
I don't want to like just skip over what you just said. Every time a new U.S. president is elected in the Baki series, they have a scene dedicated to the president showing up, being terrified of Yujiro and pledging allegiance to him.
They don't always meet Yujiro, but they're always like brief. They're told like, "Hey, just FYI, this guy
part of being president.
Okay,
you can't kill him. We're physically
Riel in chat. I have the same question. WTF is Baki even about? What's the goal here?
The goal is strength. It's personified.
Baki wants to beat his dad. Baki wants to beat his dad.
Baki is Yujiro's son. Got it.
That's what's going to happen at the end.
Yeah. And 3.5, visibly stronger, shows that Baki, it shows that Yujiro.
3.5?
Yeah, because I had some extra bits. Yujiro in Son of Ogre you see him do his iconic stance. And then later in Baki Dao, which happens some estimates later, you see that he's visibly stronger, showing that his accelerated development rate is not a lie. He is constantly expanding in his power and speed. You can see his muscles are just way more defined and bigger. And the main things that I believe gives Yujiro the victory is the fact that while Sportacus is very athletic, very strong, I'm not going to take away from that, he has not been in many fights or definitely not skilled enough to comprehend the sheer amount of BS that Baki characters with sheer martial arts tactics have, such as precognition. Yujiro himself has perfect perceptions where he can analytically understand a person 100% discovery rate and even see all their strengths and weaknesses with a simple glance. He has moves like Aki that allows him to redirect the flow of energy and redirect it back at the opponent, and sometimes not even have to make contact with the opponent to allow that energy to be redirected. So any amount of power gap that he has will be used against Sportacus. Xiao Li, which makes his body fall limp, and he can absorb attacks and make people feel like they're only kicking air / just a piece of tissue paper, and release all the energy that was given to him back at his opponent. Yet again, another attack that will use any amount of strength that Sportacus will have against him. The whole deal is why I believe he can get these moves off, is because Sportacus will just be like a child flailing his fists around compared to Yujiro, who has literally been fighting people. He fought in the Vietnam War when he was 16.
Okay, hang on. Before we move away from this, I do want to say I kind of missed half of what you said just because I'm very impressed by this panel here. Specifically because he is wearing those incredibly loose, like, athletic martial arts pants.
And
his ass is so fucking big. It is so like specifically toned in these very loose pants. What the fuck is going on?
His ass is trying to escape his pants. He's wearing hammer pants.
5 precognition, 5.5 precognition, 6 perfect perceptions. At any point you want to throw these on screen, it shows just how ridiculous the martial arts is with Baki, that they are just unbelievable. The martial arts is the power. system of their verse. And also he has ways to bypass durability, such as whip strike, that literally attacks the entire skin of a person, that will generate immense amount of pain. And it's not like he's a fair fighter. He's gonna go for the family jewels. He's gonna go for it. He's gonna dig his fingers up his nose and then yank downward. He's gonna go.
Yeah, he's
What?
a monster.
Yeah,
Yujiro is explicitly stated to be a person that is motivated by his desire to hurt others,
Yes.
like to physically
Oh,
overpower and humiliate
okay.
them.
Yes.
Okay.
He does it instead of sex and good food. Like
Yes.
that's his way of feeling. Yeah.
The whole thing
Got
with
it.
the
This is
precognition
what he
is that-
enjoys. Okay,
Yeah,
this is what he
yeah,
gets
yeah.
off to.
I need to know, because one of the things John was saying is like he can detect weakness. Do either of these people have a weakness? Like, for
Chad-
example, like is Sportacus like, does he have the Captain
Yes.
Planet thing?
Mhm.
He does have
he does have a
yes,
weakness.
yes.
Yes, he does.
If he eats unhealthy food,
Yeah, or be around it.
eats bad food, yeah, or yes, yeah, and
Yeah.
he's like, or he like doesn't get a good night's sleep. He'll
Yeah.
be cranky,
Be
which is technically a weakness for all humans. But yeah, junk food is like kryptonite to him, which is where I'm going. So let me get into Sportacus.
Let's talk about
Okay, go for it.
Okay.
So the big one that went viral was Sportacus popped an apple out of his backpack and got a headed tennis racket and hit it, and it went to the moon. And it landed like in a crater, like it was a basketball hoop, and he went, yeah. So not only did he hit it and it flew past the satellite, and it landed in the moon perfectly. He saw that, so he has like unbelievable, like perfect vision. The speed of that, John was bringing up stuff like Mach 1000, very impressive. The speed for that is Mach 147,153, or about 16.8 times, or 16.8% the speed of light. Remember all that stuff where I said he plays ping pong with himself, where he hit a baseball and he then like front flipped and then like went to the other side of the town and caught it. Sportacus himself, obviously for a fight, like your arms, like, you know, that reaction speed like stuff is usually enough, but like Sportacus himself can physically keep up with how hard he hits stuff. And the energy to do that would be, I didn't even write it down. I didn't write it down because it wasn't important, because I'm getting to bigger stuff, but that would be in like the kilotons of TNT, kilotons, maybe low megatons for that feat.
Okay.
But that's not where that's not where that feat ends. That's not the most impressive feat. The most impressive one that I found was when Robbie Rotten, and this is scaling, Robbie Rotten accidentally launched himself out of his base on Earth to the moon. Again to the moon. He like pressed the wrong button, and then like his chair like sprung him through like all the way from Earth to the moon, and he hit it.
And Robbie Rotten is the villain, the kind of
Yes,
opposite.
Robbie
right?
Rotten's the villain.
Hence the name.
This is the calc that I did. Judging by the distance and the time frame, that would be about 25% the speed of light, so a quarter the speed of light. At that speed, it's worth mentioning that Robbie Rotten would be experiencing the effects of relativity. So his mass would start to be increasing like logarithmically towards infinity, as he smacks into the moon and goes, ow. The energy to survive a hit like that would be about 64 megatons of TNT, so millions of tons of TNT. Which is greater than the Tsar bomb, which was only about 50 megatons of TNT.
Mhm.
However, that's not the most impressive calc I saw of that feat. Because 64 megatons, that's a lot less than. So could he even be able to hurt Yujiro? Well, when Robbie Rotten hit that moon, and slammed into it, it kicked up a giant cloud of dust that you can see against, because you're seeing the entire moon. It kicks it up, and you can see it like showing up against the curvature. Calculating the volume of that cloud of dust and the density of dust in the air, and then how fast it popped up. And it popped up, clearly it's like a fun cartoon, so it popped up immediately. It didn't move in slow motion like you expect. Judging by the speed and the mass there, you would get 36 exatons of TNT, because the cloud popped up insanely fucking fast. To give you an idea of what an exaton is, 1,000 times less than an exaton is a petaton, 1,000 times less than a petaton is a teraton, 1,000 times less than a teraton is a gigaton, which is where Yujiro was sitting at. So that would be teratons, petatons, exatons. That would be billions of times stronger. And the reason it scales to is because the characters in LazyTown aren't like somehow like infinitely more durable than they are strong. Sportacus is stated to be like the physically the most fittest character in LazyTown. He'd be much stronger and much more durable than Robbie Rotten. When they're physically compared, he's always superior. There's one point when they're running a race, and he was able to run it about 22.7 times faster than Robbie Rotten. So I know that this is like just loose math, but you could maybe consider him to be like in physical stats 22.7 times superior to Robbie Rotten. Regardless, he'd be superior. The show would make. What's also fucking mind-breaking about it is that there's this thing in LazyTown called sports candy. And what that is how Sportacus goes from being unable to lift a pyramid off the ground to being able to lift a pyramid off the ground. It's like his version of Pop. What sports candy is just fruit. It's just fruit. Because the idea is that it's just healthy foods. That's what makes you strong.
Okay.
So he has like an apple, for instance, that he can pop out of his backpack and eat it.
It's a way to get kids to eat fruit.
Right.
Yes.
It's sports candy.
Yeah.
He did the hitting the apple to the moon feat without eating an apple, without sports candy. So this would be pre-sports candy boost. And it literally, like, whenever he eats sports candy, he like flexes and then like space like ripples around him, like there's a fucking shockwave. So he gets way fucking stronger. So
it is Popeye, but without with something a little tastier, I suppose.
Also, Meta Edits has been dropping feats for Sportacus like this whole time. And he said the sports candy can produce literal rainbows, and then the LazyTown rainbows are made of sports candy. It produces light, and he travels to the end of it within 15 seconds or less.
That's crazy.
Okay.
They also, a lot of people have been wanting you to bring up the pyramid feat, because apparently from a blimp,
he lifted a pyramid.
His airship.
That's what you're talking about right now, right?
Hook and hooked it, and then like lifted it, and it didn't lift all the way. He tilted it up.
Okay.
I didn't mention it because it's not the same as like an exaton feat.
Yeah. But I just, a lot of people wanted you to talk about it, so I was bringing it up.
Can I do a minor rebuttal of my own? So you want ridiculous? I was trying to save this for later, but that's why I didn't bring up speed.
We're literally at the end of the show, John. You gotta say it now.
The hyper acceleration thing, I didn't bring up speed. He would be, I shit you not, if you take the lowest estimate, let's say Mach 1, every other, like the expansion of Mach 1, Yujiro would actually be over several hundred times the speed of light in base with that. And taking the highball estimate thanks to Pickle, who survived the meteor that killed the dinosaurs, you get him up there into country to multi-continental, and due to the fact that the archaeologists that found him said he was definitely close to the impact point of the meteor itself, but Pickle didn't care. He wanted that food and started to fight the T-Rex. So if we get ridiculous, we can get up there as well.
I want to rebuttal that. His body was found in Colorado. The fucking meteor hit in Mexico.
Yeah,
so like he's
gonna fly back, dude.
There's also three. There's three different calcs for it because the anime, the manga, and I believe one other like interpretation of how big the explosion was have like different interpretations of where it landed. So, and once Pickle was 200 million years ago. Last time I checked in real world science, dinosaurs went extinct way sooner than that. So it's not 100% factual of that, of course. So I'm taking the calcs for those three things, and you get as low as ion level, which is fair and reasonable, and you get as high as continent to multi-continental, depending on the which interpretation that you were going off purely. So I get you for that, but that's why I wanted those three specifically. So to close those gaps, I really do believe that Yujiro, I believe he takes it purely on a hair end because of his skills with martial arts over.
Does Yujiro have a weakness?
Yujiro doesn't ever have a weakness. I would actually like to point this out. Everyone in Baki has gained scars in their fights. Every single one. Biscuit, Oliva, Pickle, Baki. Every single fighter except Yujiro. Yujiro is the only character in Baki who has been in consistent fights and has never suffered so much damage that it left a scar on his body.
Has he ever lost?
No. He has never lost a fight. The only time he ever lost was against a battle of ideals with his son, who made him believe that he was actually making a meal and thought he lost that meal. It showed that he had humility. In a way, he deemed him the strongest creature on the planet, but he definitely was dominating the fight. Anyone who sees that fight knows he was dominating the fight.
Then
And what's stopping Yujiro from making imaginary chocolate and throwing it at him?
So this is the thing. I've been seeing this in the chat. And I wanted to bring it up. A lot of people are talking about because of his imaginary food that he can create.
Yeah,
And also, apparently, he's really into apple fritters. He could
Yeah.
make some imaginary apple fritters,
fritters
which would
and-
weaken Sportacus.
is that
And that's a real thing. In Baki, imagination is a real thing. Baki has something called a demon brain that allows him to imagine a giant, mega-foot tall praying mantis and fight it. And you can see in the anime, when he's grappling it, he's off the ground and he stays off the ground. It is physically there. And people seen souls before. Yujiro Hanma, which is Yujiro's dad, appeared as a ghost. So this is 100% factual. There is no arguing against it. Ghosts and imaginations are a thing, and Miyamoto Musashi can slash people with imaginary swords. And they actually hurt them, and people react to them like, "Oh my god!"
hang on, bring us back just a little bit. So he can just make food
With his
out of
imagination.
nothing.
Out of
Is it
imagination.
is it real food that
It's real
spawns
food.
from his imagination? Like it can be consumed and it
Like the
functions
fact
like
that-
the food would?
It's the fact that Baki can make an actual invisible praying mantis and be physically off the ground when grappling it shows that the imaginations do have mass and would probably also and have the same force. When he gets hit, he gets knocked into a wall with enough. He even imagined his father, and it knocked him into a wall so hard it caused an earthquake. Imagination in Baki is 100% actually a physical thing and has the same properties.
Wait,
as
but he's
imagination.
obsessed with apple fritters, but he's also the most physically fit person ever? Like, how does that make
His
sense?
metabolism is so unbelievably based that he just converts it all into energy. That's it.
Let me just
That's
also
not
clarify,
fair.
like, no, the fucking throwing junk food at him would not work. First of all, he'd have to know that that's Sportacus's weakness, which he doesn't.
He
and
would.
then
He
Sportacus
would.
could-
He has 100% discovery rate. He knows everyone's weakness with a glance. 6 perfect perceptions. Please show that perfect perception. He literally looks at you and has 100% accuracy on how you work.
He would not
And
be able to determine like his diet, and also
How would he not?
Sportacus could just
What
summon a
about
fucking
anything
apple
that
from
you're
his
seeing
backpack.
shows that he
He has
wouldn't
an apple in
be?
his backpack. He has an apple in his backpack.
He will destroy the backpack.
And that would just
He
fix
also
it?
be able
Like,
to eat
like
He will slap the apple
Oh,
away. He
wait,
will
wait,
drink
wait,
the
wait.
apple and eat it for himself and
He's
get his
gonna slap the
power.
apple at Mach 1000. Oh
Yes!
oh,
Because I told you already. I told you already. The highest he can get is
Blitz-
actually
Blitz-
speed of light.
based on some because he learns at the speed of light, and thus we can calculate that. Give me a break.
You do calculate it. There's so
Fuck
many
out of
feats in
Yujiro.
the whole
She's
thing
gonna
with the
shove
high
a
ball.
fucking apple so far out Yujiro's ass. He's
Okay.
gonna punch out his fucking face.
Okay,
Yeah.
So,
You're being desperate now. You're in the corner.
just to clarify, the way Sportacus's weakness works, is it like kryptonite? He just needs to be near junk food and then he just like
The
shrivels
smell
up
of
and
it.
can't do
The smell of
anything?
it
He has to
does
eat it.
do something. The smell of it does
He has
do
to
something
eat
to him, but he has to eat it. He has to consume it for it to take full effect. But he does not like the smell of junk food.
Okay, so he dislikes the being around it, but in order
Yeah.
for it to actually physically affect him, it has to be consumed.
So
And
important.
in response, all he has to do is eat some sports candy to fix this. Is
It'll
the
be 2
idea?
weeks to do anything, and he would already be dead by the time he gets an apple. Because there was many moments in LazyTown where he tries to get a sports candy, and they actually
So-
pick outside people to give him that candy.
I just want to point out if the argument is that Yujiro wins because he manages to force Sportacus to
No,
trick him into
No,
or
I
force-
literally say he
eating
wins
a-
because he has
eating an apple
so
fritter.
many
then-
ways around the gap, if there is
Yeah.
one.
That
is just a
does
fun
that
one.
imply that he is not capable of like his fists, which he normally does? Like no, and Yujiro also likes to fight. He
Yeah,
is a
again,
fighter.
yeah,
He would
he's a
he would
fighter,
not
and
go,
that's
I'm gonna feed him an apple fritter
Again,
so that because I'm so fucking weak and can't win on my own.
That's
No,
where
no,
the
no.
precognition, Aki, Shao Li, whip strike, weak point understanding, where he's going to go for his family jewels, go inside of his mouth, go for the more sensitive areas. He also knows the 0.5 unconscious time, where he will react before his brain even reacts anyway, and then do whatever he wants, such as hitting his chin and having his brain
It's
wrap
just
around
not
and
even remotely fast or
Okay.
strong enough.
No.
Yes, it does.
The
Even-
whole thing is that he
Oh my
will
God,
react
one
before his
hit from
brain
Sportacus
will
would-
do
would
it.
explode his body.
And again, I already gave you constant things that it makes the gap a lot less. the lowest you get is 65% the speed of light, which is higher than those things. And if you say he gets stronger with the sports candy, that's good. But he also gets stronger and faster with both his demon back and near death concentration, which at bare minimum gets a 2 and another 2 times multiplier to that speed.
What was the highest? What was it gigatons? Was that the highest one? The meteor. The meteor. That's still a million.
No.
times
The
less
Terratons
than the
was the accelerated development speed. The meteor, it gets up to a gigaton, depending on a few gigatons.
Billions of times weaker than speed.
I love that at the same exact time in chat, I saw somebody say, "Oh, it looks like Liam is getting desperate," and then just a couple lines down, it said, "Uh-oh, looks like John is getting desperate." It's such a fascinating back and forth. I love it, but we are at time. So we do need to wrap this up.
We talked about that. Thank you for the super chat. And then Kamidachi said, "Did Yujiro get tranquilized by an ordinary gun?"
Like, again, that was way back in the earlier of the series, and that you're basically trying to take a very much weaker Yujiro and trying to say, oh yeah, okay, that means it's gonna happen again. Dude literally threatens all of USA and actually actively said to one of the presidents of the land, "I'm about to come and kill you," by the way, and tested his entire armada, and it didn't do anything about him. Stop! Don't bring that up.
King Campbell says, "Side note, Yujiro has X-ray vision." Of course he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
He can just
Is that what happens when you get super healthy? All right.
Thank you, Todd Friend.
Oh my God.
I don't
Okay.
even know. Chat, good luck with this one.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna start getting the poll going. Chad, what are you thinking? What's going through your head?
This has been insane, and also, man, y'all went really ham at the end there. I really do like the imaginary food argument, which I know is going to drive Liam insane. I'm sorry, but knowing that at least Sportacus has a weakness, I feel like we could probably get there eventually. Yes, they would fight. It would be epic and it would be awesome. But I mean, well, I guess I don't know, man. This is crazy.
I don't really see a world where the weakness comes into play that much. I don't really see that becoming like, especially since Sportacus does have a way to just get around it potentially. But the stuff with it does sound like Yujiro is kind of what Sportacus could become, but chooses not to because he's not like an asshole.
He's a pacifist. He doesn't want to hurt people. He doesn't want to.
So Yujiro is actually a sadist. He's like they're literally polar opposites in their personality, but it's also the fact that he can't.
Sure. So everybody who's watching or listening right now, there is a poll up right now. You can either vote for Sportacus 10 or Yujiro Hanma. Let us know who you think should win this. I'll leave it up for about a minute or so that everybody can get their votes in. We currently have almost 1,500 people watching, so everybody get your votes in. Man, this is so my heart says I want Sportacus to win because like he sounds like such a delight. And Yujiro just sounds like an asshole. But also Yujiro sounds like this ultimate fighter who could probably, I don't know, I feel like could probably pull this one out. But Sportacus is just I also wonder if there might be an element of unpredictability to this, where Yujiro is not going to really be able to understand what Sportacus is capable of.
In Baki, Sportacus would be something in Baki, actually. Like, he just be like, oh, another crazy fighter, all right? And because
Sportacus just kind of fits within. I guess it sounds like Sportacus would just
he once fought a 165-year-old man who can punch with the power of a nuke. I mean, like, I don't think Sportacus is anything.
Man, I don't know. This is hard for me. I can't pick. Oh my gosh. But this is fascinating. Like when the Sportacus thing was coming up, when we were wrapping up production on, I think we had just released Joker Giorno, and we were sort of getting into the tail end of finishing up Bowser Eggman. Like it was really interesting looking because I've seen Sportacus come up in like memes and stuff related to like versus matches and things before, but like really diving into it and seeing what he can do, we got to bring Sportacus into a death battle, right? Like it has to happen.
I mean, I'm telling you guys, this is a perfect matchup.
Yeah,
this is so much fun.
So I guess that's my question for everybody watching and listening. Is this the perfect matchup for Sportacus? Because also I think Baki would be fascinating to explore in death battle as well. Is this the matchup to explore both these characters? Or is there a different matchup that you're interested in seeing in an actual death battle? Let us know, please tell us, because I'm very curious and I would love to dive in, because we could only like touched the surface of these characters clearly in a Death Metal cast. There's obviously so much more to go into.
Ben, so many people have been dropping feats, but meta edits specifically, the amount of like Sportacus feats that this person's been dropping. Like this one just for fun. Sportacus is able to make genies baffled. Sure.
Wait,
Okay.
what? Say those words again.
Make genies baffled, so it can confuse genie. I assume it's the like you only get 3 wishes.
Baffle
probably
genies.
Tricks. Yes.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Oh, baffled can make them baffled.
Yes.
I thought you said
right.
can make genies baffle, and I went.
No.
I command you, baffle.
So it's a new, brand new word.
Yeah.
All
Levitation,
right.
thank you. Says please make this a real death battle. Maybe.
Table says right now I'm leaning Captain Planet for Sportacus. I can see that. I definitely got Captain Planet vibes from it. There's definitely a lot, I think, of potential ways to take this.
I want to say Sportacus would disembowel Homeland.
Homelander.
We can all agree that both.
That was the meme, right?
Yeah.
Yujiro would
Sportacus
disembowel
versus
Homelander.
They would
Yeah.
disembowel together.
But I mean, isn't that the point of a Homelander matchup?
Yeah.
Like,
just like,
to watch him just
Yeah.
get completely trashed. Yeah, could be fun.
Now the people are talking about Pepsi, man. We did bring that up, but nobody's.
That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one.
Man.
I
I'm
would.
gonna eat an apple because.
Oh
he
my
has
god.
enough.
Okay,
Huh?
yes, and I was thinking Tekken as well as a possible for matching up with Baki. Who knows? Maybe a different Baki character would match up with the Tekken character really well.
My
or Yujiro. It's fine.
appeal for it was that like Yujiro obviously fits with characters like Akuma and Kazuya and whatever, but those are obvious, right? You know, like you
wanna
know
go
exactly
something
what you're getting with that.
out of the box.
I feel a lot of more juice. When I heard this matchup and I thought about it, I was like, oh, I would write this fucker. Like I know what this needs. I know what this is. So if that's an endorsement.
Okay. Let us know if you want Liam to quote write this fucker. We will see if that happens.
Let's
All
get
right.
another layer. Thor G in the chat says this should be the Ismahawk fight.
There is a guy that's been running around that's on like the internet who looks really good as a Yujiro. If you can get in contact with him, that'd be really
Dude.
Get Magnus. Get Magnus.
I don't know
Get Magnus
exactly. I don't know exactly how Baki would translate, but if we could make it work, that actually is not a bad idea.
Because you'd want like the X-rays. Okay, I'm not to like diss that, but you want like the X-rays, seeing like the muscle, like, and then his muscle got angry, and you know stuff like that. That I
I wouldn't want to like.
rage.
I wouldn't want to do like an anime or manga style fight live action and not and make it feel like we're not too separate, right? I wouldn't want to Dragon Ball Evolution it, right? So we would have to be able to make it work, but it kind of sounds like a dope idea. Danny might have some ideas for that, so put it in my brain now.
So many flips.
Oh my god! All right, so let's go ahead and wrap up this poll. I mean, I feel like this is closer than the poll actually indicates, but we do have with 71% of the vote, Sportacus 10 taking the win. To be fair, John, I think you did a great job wrapping Yujiro.
I'm almost entirely certain
beat Sportacus.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people voted against Yujiro because every time I see this fight, it's like I just want to see Yujiro get killed by this happy toony guy. I get that. I understand. Yujiro's not a great guy, but I honestly think this is a lot closer than people give it credit for when you take.
I think it would be perfect. I think that it would be an awesome like resolution if either of them died. Because I thought about this and I was like, what if it's still fun if Sportacus? It is.
Yeah, because I can see Yujiro. Like Yujiro's not like he's an asshole, but when it comes to strength, he respects people. He respects he respects strength. So I really do think if he wins, it will be like from a smidget of a hair, and he'll sit down and make him like a good healthy lunch.
So in order for things to work out for the United States in the world of Baki, we got to elect like a martial artist to the presidency and somebody who he'll actually respect.
Yeah.
Hire Sportacus to kill.
That's how it starts. That's how it starts.
No, the way that I imagine it is that Yujiro shows up in LazyTown and is like, "Bring me a fighter! I hear that you have a fighter."
Actually, I can see it that a lot of us have been joking. So apparently Yujiro can induce fear into people at a cellular level just by walking. His existence does that. I wish I could have shown that.
What
Yeah,
does
I wish I
anything
could show
mean?
that panel. It's a real thing that happens. And he's just walking in LazyTown, and then, the kids and, Stephanie, they just get scared, and then Sportacus' thing lights up, and then he goes to protect them. Then he just, Yujiro is like, oh, you look strong. And then there you go. That's a perfect. So Yujiro doesn't
He's like,
look for
whoa,
conflict.
this guy's pretty strong. I better not
Yeah.
get hit by that. Whoa.
Yeah, like this is it. Because Yujiro doesn't necessarily look for conflict unless conflict really comes to him, unless he knows.
Chad, what is your epiphany?
If we do it in live action, we get to use puppets for the citizens.
Yeah, we get to use the citizen puppets. Which cost $10 billion kajillion.
All right. Well, like I said, everybody, let us know if this is your ideal Sportacus and Yujiro matchup. Who knows? Maybe there's other ideas out there. We'd love to hear it from y'all. Thank you all so much for tuning in and watching this Death Battle cast. What a matchup! What a bunch of characters. These would be great to explore in a death battle. All right. Thanks, John, for coming on and
my first loss, but you know what? It was repping Yujiro, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah. It's great to finally explore Baki on one of these. I've been looking forward to talking about Baki. All right, and of course, thanks, Liam, for winning again. Jeez.
Did I lose last time?
Yeah. It was Simon versus, I believe, Kyle.
Yeah.
Oh, against
against
with
you.
Me.
Yeah,
with me.
Like last week.
No,
okay, last week, no.
I don't think so. Didn't I lose last week? Whatever. I don't remember. I've been so caught up in making sure Bowser vs. Eggman, gets out, and there's a lot going on with that.
Yeah.
So,
Couldn't debate.
Go check out Bowser vs. Eggman if you haven't. Thank you all so much for joining us. We will see you next week.
Yujiro's reaction when he finds out that I lost. I'm sorry.
No.
Man. I tried my best, dude. I did my best. Okay, yeah, this is fun.
That was so much fun.